Okay, Elimination Chamber 2024, or Elimination Chamber Perth, because that's where it's held, is in the books, and obviously this had a lot going on into it. Not what you would think, though, as we had things like pirates apparently stealing the Elimination Chamber equipment while it was en route through the Suez Canal. Added to that, you had R-Truth mistaking Australia for Austria, as Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic pointed out. And, also, suddenly out of nowhere, kickoff show matches are back. Yes, we started off with a kickoff show match, the Women's Tag Team Championships, the Kabuki Warriors, that's Asuka and Kairi Sane, against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I just called them the Way in my notes. And yeah, I didn't get a picture for this because they didn't post it in time. Anyway, yeah, so maybe this is hopefully that could happen a little bit more, especially around WrestleMania. But other than that, this was pretty much a bog standard kickoff show match. Obviously, Indy Hartwell got the home country pop. The audience was definitely behind her. She actually got some big moves right off the bat. She hit Sane with a big boot, and then a double team maneuver where she kind of flapjacked Candice LeRae onto Sane. LeRae then came up and did a step up. What would I write here? Sorry. She hit a maneuver on Asuka. Asuka then distracted the ref, which allowed Kairi Sane to push LeRae off the top rope. Asuka did an ankle lock into a German suplex. Asuka then hit a running hip attack on Hartwell to knock her off the rack. Eventually Hartwell did get the hot tag, hit some big splashes on Asuka. But then Kairi Sane broke up a double team maneuver by pushing Candice LeRae off the top rope. And the Kabuki Warriors hit an elbow death drop DDT for the 3-count of the victory. Like I said, overall, decent match, not terrible. Given the way the rest of the show went, I'm kind of surprised they didn't maybe just pull a title change here. I think it's, I mean, again, you could give them a quick 2-week reign or something. I don't think it would have been too terrible to do something like that. I don't know what the plans are for the Women's Tag Team Championships right now, because pretty much anyone who gets them gets injured. So, again, not like right now the future is kind of unknown for those, if they'll be defending at Mania or not. So, like I said, if kickoff show matches are back to stay, I think it's a nice thing because, sitting through hour-long, I think they finally realized people don't want to sit through hour-long kickoff shows if there's nothing to make them sit there. Like, if I want match previews, I can go to YouTube and watch them. I don't need to, sit through these, like, I could just wait and come in and tune in, 10 minutes before the show starts. Why do I need to tune in an hour early? So, like I said, I do hope this is maybe a step in the right direction. We start getting them back. Again, the other promotions do these things better still. I still think, one, kickoff show does not need to be an hour long. Half an hour works just as well. I mean, you don't need to dedicate an hour to everything because it just takes way too long. Yeah, I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but there were only 5 matches on the show. I mean, one of them wasn't even really a match, so I gotta fill this with something. Anyway, as we move to the show proper, we had the Women's Elimination Chamber match where the winner would face either Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax at WrestleMania. You had Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair versus Naomi. Naomi and Becky Lynch started off the match. Early on there was an arm drag where it looked like maybe Becky Lynch tweaked her finger or something. She was shaking her hand afterwards. Tiffany Stratton was the next one out next, so obviously that means it's Tiffy time. Stratton hit some hamstring elbows onto both Lynch and Naomi. She hit some great moves. Hit a nice spine buster. Lynch broke up a moonsault with a Russian leg sweep off the second rope. Liv Morgan was out next. Immediately went after Tiffany Stratton and started. Tiffany Stratton. I can't talk. Tiffany Stratton started bouncing her head off of the pod. Morgan hit the recoil from the second rope onto Becky Lynch. Stratton hit a step-up maneuver or a stomp on Morgan. Eventually, Naomi went up to the top of and hit what they tried to say was a sunset bomb. It was not. It was a it was a blockbuster onto Liv Morgan. However, Tiffany Stratton then rolled Naomi up to eliminate her. Raquel Rodriguez was out next. She hit Stratton with a big side slam. Everyone that ganged up on Rodriguez tried a triple fin, but it failed. Bianca Belair was the final one out. She locked Stratton in the pod for a brief moment. Belair then hit a slingshot DDT on Rodriguez. Morgan then hit a big maneuver off the pod. She had a senton off the pod, basically she was standing on top of the pod. Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton were climbing the pod, and I believe it was Raquel Rodriguez was lying down in the ring. And Morgan hit the senton off of the pod onto her. At which point, then Tiffany Stratton shoved Becky Lynch off and hit a swanton off of the pod. And then, let's see, Stratton hits jumps off the pod, takes out Belair, Lynch, and Rodriguez in that maneuver. Morgan then hit Oblivion off the second rope to eliminate Stratton. Belair hit a KOD on Rodriguez to eliminate her. Morgan then hit a backstabber sent into the Belair into the pod with a backstabber. Lynch hit a block to 450 from Belair. Morgan rolled up Belair out of a KOD to get the elimination on her. And then Morgan immediately got caught in the manhandle slam by Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania to face either Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax, as pretty much everyone predicted. Like I said, overall, it was a pretty good match. I thought it dragged a little bit towards the end. There was way too many near falls. I think once you start getting down, there was a little too much four-woman action in the ring to be going on. I think once you start getting to that after a while, you need to start having eliminations to go rapid fire to get it down more. It kind of dragged. Everyone's hitting big move after big move after big move and not getting a pinfall. It's really starting to gas the audience a little bit. But other than that, like I said, it was all good, predictable, but good. So yeah, Becky Lynch, like everyone said. I mean, personally, I think Liv Morgan would have been a better choice here. If you're going to bring her back from injury, and you have someone who has a history of Rhea Ripley, I think that one would have worked better. Again, Liv Morgan was literally the last one who pinned Rhea Ripley, so that would have, I think, been a better option there. And I'm not the biggest Liv Morgan fan. But still, again, I guess, Becky, will get her moment at WrestleMania again. And that leads us into our next match, the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match between the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest against the New Catch Republic. That's Tyler Bate and thankfully now back to Pete Dunne. Like I said, they did a joke where that Ross from Cultaholic called, which was R-Truth accidentally arriving in Austria when he was supposed to be in Australia. So he's not involved in this. Dominic introduces the Judgment Day, and apparently caused such a ruckus during this match they had to black it out because the fans kept flashing obscene signs at him. So, yeah. Anyway, he immediately gets thrown out by Bate and Dunne. Dunne hits a big clothesline after a head scissors from Bate. They beat up on Balor for a while. Bate ran right into a forearm from Damian Priest, however, and the heels got back the upper hand. Dominic got a cheap shot at Bate. Dunne got the hot tag. He sent both Priest and Balor out of the ring and then hit a big moonsault onto them to the outside. Priest hit Balor with a hammerlock lariat. Bate with a hammerlock lariat. Judgment Day hit a side slam DDT combo on Bate. Bate pushed Priest, got Priest up for an airplane spin. And then Pete Dunne hit the bitter end on Finn Balor, but Dominic pulled his foot under the ropes. This is what got the segment blacked out. And that also got Dominic ejected. He refused to leave, and I guess then they got in. It looked like on a couple more occasions, Dunne and Bate hit their finisher, the Birmingham Hammer. That's Birmingham Hammer on, I believe it was on Balor. I don't think it was on Priest. However, they tried to do a maneuver on Priest. He fought out of it. They were going up to they were going to set up to superplex him. However, Balor managed to grab onto Priest's foot and hold it in place long enough for Priest to hit a chokeslam off of both men from the top ropes. And then Balor hit the coup de grace for the 3 count and the victory. Again, probably could have done, I would either had this or the women's tag match be a title change, because the crowd kind of needed something, because this was a very heel-heavy show. And, yeah, like, it was a great match. I think it might be my choice for match of the night. Very enjoyable, really fun, a lot of great maneuvers to get into. And like I said, I thought they might pull the trigger on a title change, but like I said, there's 6 weeks till Mania. You could give the New Catch Republic a 2-week title run, have Judgment Day win it back, and then they can face Miz-Truth at Mania. But, whatever. Like I said, though, this was a very heel-heavy show. Maybe something could have gone their way to keep the crowd more into it. I know you're going to say the main event, but we'll get into the technicalities of that when I get there. But still, yeah, like I said, overall, very enjoyable match. Okay, our next match is, well, not really a match. I wrote it down as one, though, so that's what I'm running with. It's the Grayson Waller effect with special guests Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Waller did get the home country pop. He did get cheered down to the ring. He shared a shoey with Australian UFC fighter whose name escaped me. This was after Austin Theory introduced him by making Vegemite and Outback Steakhouse jokes. He did make a Foster's beer reference, so that immediately kills this routine. Anyway, Waller said that Cody had the American education system to blame because he cannot finish a story. He then said Cody tainted the WrestleMania main event by, ruining what was going to be a great match between The Rock and Roman Reigns. But Cody says, well, I, talked to you. I want to tell you why I initially gave it, and then we know we get that. Yeah, the segment was very hit or miss. Seth Rollins did say he's a few days away from being medically cleared to compete, so he'll be able to compete at Mania. Cody then said, you know what, I'm challenging The Rock to a match anywhere, anytime, one-on-one. But Cody said, hey, look, I know if you go up against the Bloodline, you're not going up one-on-one. I'll be in your corner for that day you face The Rock. And I'll get more into that maybe in a later video. Okay, we'll do a little thing where I'm talking over the video game footage again. Where I'll go into this whole confusing mess. But then Theory grabs the mic and does some rock shtick. He tells it doesn't matter what Cody thinks, and he's doing the if you smell. And then at that moment, Rollins chucks Theory into one of the set pieces. Cody hits a disaster, or Cody cutter. Then I think it was a disaster kick, and then Rollins hits the stomp. And Waller basically realized, no, you were kind of the idiot here, and leaves Theory in the ring. So hopefully this does not break up the potential Grayson Waller-Austin Theory tag team, because I do think they would work well together, given the fact they have the exact same gimmick. They're both wannabe Logan Pauls. Let Logan Paul form a faction. I think it would actually get over. But still, yeah. Like I said, not really a match, so I don't know what else to say about it. I don't think it really furthered much at all. Maybe instead have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory compete in a match. Just something. I think that really would have helped. And that leads us into the men's Elimination Chamber match. Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul versus Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley versus LA Knight. The winner facing Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. McIntyre and Knight opened things up. There were CM Punk chants as McIntyre a big suplex on Knight. It's at this point Logan Paul started making a bit of a ruckus. They might... I don't mind the idea that they put audio in the pod so that way if someone wants to yell taunting stuff, they can, so that it seems a bit more, as to say, authentic, but you get more of a story that way. Unfortunately, he did so in a way that basically got bleeped. They had to mute a big segment of the match. Kevin Owens was out at that point. He immediately chokeslammed LA Knight because he had promised to Make-A-Wish Kid he would do a chokeslam during the match. McIntyre hit a really awesome-looking crossbody onto both Knight and Owens. Lashley was out next. Nothing really happened. Randy Orton was out next. He hit Owens with a Hangman DDT on the chamber, began selling a very back injury. Knight hit a DDT on McIntyre on the chamber floor. Then our last entrant, Logan Paul, came out. Owens immediately attacked Paul, pushing him back into the chamber pod, that is. Owens put on the backslide, hit a big clothesline on Paul. It's at this point that Lashley grabbed Kevin Owens, threw him through one of the pod walls. He then speared Logan Paul through the other pod wall. McIntyre then hit a Claymore on Lashley to eliminate him. As they were taking out a barely conscious Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles ran in with a chair and attacked LA Knight. He hit a Styles Clash on the chair and then enabled McIntyre to cover LA Knight to eliminate him. Randy Orton then hit an RKO on Kevin Owens and got the elimination there. Logan Paul went for a crossbody off of the pod. He pulled out the brass knucks. He took McIntyre out with the crossbody. He pulled out the brass knucks. It took a little too long to put them on and show off to the crowd because he got hit with an RKO out of nowhere for the 3 kick to be eliminated. Owens and McIntyre fought off of it. I believe Orton, I keep saying Owens when I meant Orton, countered a move into an RKO. McIntyre countered an RKO into a spine buster, but Orton did come back, hit the RKO out of nowhere. However, just before he could move into him, Logan Paul apparently had not left the chamber and hit Orton with the brass knucks to knock him out. And Drew McIntyre covered him for the 3 count in the victory, so Drew McIntyre is going to WrestleMania. Overall, a fun match. Had its moments. I do kind of like the idea that no one got eliminated until the last guy got into the ring. Again, I don't think I've ever seen that in a chamber match, so again, it did present something of a different wrinkle. Again, pretty predictable that Drew McIntyre was going to be going to WrestleMania, given that CM Punk was injured. It was going to be either CM Punk or Drew McIntyre, but given everything that happened there. That being said, the fact we had 2 chamber matches in this where the first entrant or someone who was opening up the match won does kind of defeat a lot of the purpose of the chamber match. The idea is you should want to be one of the later people because then you're fresh when everyone else isn't. Like, I think McIntyre would have gotten over way more as a heel if he would have was one of the last entrants, not one of the first entrants. You know, I get, having him make the lucky pins with Knight and Orton does work a little bit more, but not that much. And it just made Drew McIntyre look badass when he's supposed to be a heel, so he should look a little more cowardly. So, yeah, that's just kind of where it fell apart, in my opinion. Okay, our next match is the main event, the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Michael Cole has gone hoarse at this point. I couldn't always hear what he was saying. Ripley, right off the bat, tried to go for a quick riptide. Jax fought her way out. Jax did dominate this match early on. She gave Ripley the sting face. She put on a half grab. She hit multiple Samoan drops, one off the second rope. She went one through the announce table. She followed that up with an elbow drop, sending them completely through the announce table. Ripley came back, did hit a frog splash after tripping Jax up on the ropes. Jax did hit her version of the bonsai drop. Only got a 2 count on her. Went for a second one, and Rhea Ripley hit a superplex and followed it up with a riptide for the a superplex, and then followed that up with a big kick and the riptide for the 3 count and the victory. Kind of predictable. So yeah, when I talk about this being a very heel-heavy show, obviously Rhea Ripley was the babyface in this match. Technically, it's her home country, not her hometown. They're like, where she's from, South Adelaide is in South Australia, obviously. But it's like, I'd say it's the equivalent of saying, like, someone from New Orleans is in their hometown when they're wrestling a match in San Francisco, if you catch my drift. For the Americans in there. So yeah, like a hometown pop or home country pop, like that's kind of the thing. Like obviously all of the Australian talent here tend to be from eastern cities. I'm not sure about Indy Hartwell. I can't remember where they said she was from. Yeah, I think you're getting the point there. From eastern cities on the east coast of Australia. They're on the west coast. They're in Perth. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying home country and not hometown pop there. But, yeah, so she was the babyface because this is her homeland, and that's kind of where I was talking about before. Like, the last time they ran one of these shows in Australia, you had Buddy Murphy winning the Cruiserweight Championship, and you had the Iconics winning a tag team match. And in this one, only one of the hometown people won a match. Of the two that were competing in matches. So that's kind of one of those reasons why I said maybe put the, have a tag title change there. Just something that would help pep the crowd up a little bit more, because I do think they were a little more in the, like I said, this is a little heel-heavy show. And though the crowd maybe didn't seem to show it that much, I do think that maybe could have soured it a little bit. That being said, the crowd constantly having to be muted or having to cut the feed because of what they're doing maybe wasn't the best either. Then again, the show, just like I said, overall is really predictable. Obviously Ripley wasn't going to lose the women's championship. Becky Lynch was long pegged to be facing Ripley at Mania. Everyone pivoted to McIntyre when, everyone pivoted to McIntyre when CM Punk got hurt. I know there were some people say, well, maybe Sami Zayn could get involved, but obviously he wasn't in the chamber match, so that didn't happen. But I think you understand what I'm kind of getting here, that overall the show was not bad, it just was filler, unfortunately, and there wasn't really that great, real popping moment. There were just, little enjoyable moments, and that could sometimes not, especially when you're trying to carry a 4-hour show, hour-long kickoff, but it's still, you maybe need a few more big moments to rile the crowd up, and I don't think they quite did enough to do that. Like I said, overall, it's not bad. It wasn't, I'm not, I know it sounds like I'm not crapping on it that much. I just said I didn't get, a great full experience on it. I just, liked what I saw. It was just perfectly good. It was perfectly average, and that's why I'm going to be giving Elimination Chamber 2024 a C. This wasn't quite as good as Sami Zayn in Montreal last year. That definitely was a hot crowd, okay? So you can see what I'm talking about there. So yeah, maybe it's the stadium. Like the acoustics in the stadium just weren't there. But yeah, like I said, it was perfectly average. It was fine. Okay, so the next video is going to be the random trade review on Transformers Best of the UK Prey. That's going to be up on Tuesday, just kind of because of how long this is taking. There were some last minute changes to things. Like, overall, I had things shot and recorded. I just need to get my pictures and screens grabs taken care of for the copy I own. After that, it's going to be the recap and review for the Marvels. We're still doing those catch-up things. After that, it'll be the Doctor Who specials. I don't know if I'll do each one individually or I'll do it as one big chunk. It might wind up being another long rambling one like the Loki Season 2 was. Echo is actually after that, then the Doctor Who specials. My mistake. So yeah, I don't know how long those ones are going to be, but hopefully I'll be able to get them done soon. See you all next time.
Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCamp Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.